Imagine a world where no one was watching. No views, no followers, no opinions. Would that be suffocating to you or freeing? I mean, really, think about it. Where would we be? Would we be happier? Would we be lonelier? Would we care about how we look, what we make, who we are? And I guess the bigger question, would we still be doing all the things we are right now? All of this is posed around the idea that fulfillment and purpose are the driving forces for why we do things. That if no one was watching, what you're making, what you're building, and what you're doing right now is essentially enough to keep you going by itself. Not solely because you're trying to get to the top of the mountain, but simply because you like to walk. And it's something that I, as a filmmaker, have asked myself repeatedly throughout my career and my life. Am I doing this because I want to, or because I feel like everyone expects me to? So how do we get here, caring so much about what everyone else thinks of us? For that, we have to go back to when social media was just starting to shape our world. Next thing you know, interacting online became a very normal way of getting to know people. Since then, it's seeped into our lives, causing us to heavily rely on it for things like validation, happiness, and even a sense of belonging. For many of us, social media became a powerful outlet to share our work, thoughts, and lives. We got accustomed to having an audience and thrived off of it. But somewhere along the way, sharing started to feel more like showing. And I think there's a difference there, because to me, sharing is intimate. It's bringing out something from inside of us, where showing is less about what's inside and more about how it's received by the outside. In short, sharing is for yourself and showing is for others. And for me, I always felt this internal conflict because I didn't know what was worse, being an actor or having no audience. But it was when I asked myself, so what if there were no views, no one watching, no one to care about my work or what I do? Was that better than being someone I'm not? So many times I felt the need to have eyes on me because I thought more likes and more views meant higher quality. But that couldn't be further from the truth. I've met some of the most talented and genuine people who haven't gotten the recognition they very much deserve. Take the story of Joshua Bell, a world-renowned violinist. In 2007, he conducted a social experiment. He walked into a subway station in Washington, D.C. and played some of the finest classical music ever written, even using his $3.5 million violin. Now keep in mind, people from around the world would pay hundreds of dollars to see him in concert. But here, he played for 43 minutes, and nearly everyone walked by. 3 minutes went by before anyone even glanced his way. Over 1,000 people passed by, and only 7 stopped to listen even for a minute. When he finished, he'd collected $32. If anything, what we can learn from this experiment is this. It is that the value of beauty or talent doesn't change simply because people don't see it. In fact, I've found that it's something we do more often than not. We miss things every day, either because we're not looking for them or because we're so focused on ourselves. Whatever it is, we can conclude that just because people aren't watching doesn't mean it's not great. As Marcus Aurelius, Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, put it, does anything genuinely beautiful need supplementing? No more than justice does, or truth, or kindness, or humility. Are any of those improved by being praised, or damaged by contempt? Is an emerald suddenly flawed if no one admires it? Or gold, or ivory, or purple? That all being said, I still believe there's something beautiful about being undiscovered. I still remember when I posted my first YouTube videos 10 years ago. I made whatever I wanted with zero expectations. There was no pressure. As I've grown, my perception of people's opinions shifted. I believed everyone cared about what I did. But as Winston Churchill said, when you're 20, you care what everyone thinks. When you're 40, you stop caring what everyone thinks. And when you're 60, you realize no one was ever thinking about you in the first place. Most of us are just too wrapped up in our own lives to constantly think about anyone else. Looking back, I forgot the most important thing about creating. We don't create for an audience or an algorithm, we create for ourselves. And that's the most beautiful part of it. To find something we love so much that we do it even if no one was watching. And I believe it's that kind of work that has the power to change things, because it doesn't come from a flash in a pan. It comes from somewhere deep inside of us. But sure, changing the world is an ambitious pursuit, but no less an impressive accomplishment, to strive to be better than who we were yesterday. To be honest in our work, to be vulnerable and genuine, to share who we are. Because the world more than ever needs people like that, people who are willing to bring out the deepest part of themselves, not to be famous or rich, not for the sake of having an audience, but simply because they have something worth sharing. So here's to those who give a part of themselves to the world without ever asking for anything in return. This is for you, for creating a world that matters, even if no one is watching.